This is Alexa and Dr. Thomas Weimbs. We're coming in at the ASN Conference. And today, right now, we're in the poster hall. So this is where everyone's presenting all of their new research, design ideas. And we'll go and we'll continue into the exhibit hall. But first, we wanted to kind of talk to Dr. Thomas Weimbs here. We had Dr. Torres, who presented a poster, actually, in the poster session. And we want to kind of talk to you a little bit about what that was about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Alexa. Hi, everyone. So we're here in the poster hall. There are thousands and thousands of posters of kidney research groups, clinical research groups, and so on. And so it's all focused on kidney. We had a few posters from my lab at UCSB. We had a collaborative poster a couple of days ago about the clinical trial. We did with Roman Mueller's group in Cologne in Germany on ketogenic dietary interventions in PKD, which was, I think, just amazing results. And we have a separate video somewhere down there. From my research lab, we had some interesting data that we presented. One study was on uric acid and the detrimental effects it has on polycystic kidney disease, where we could show that these uric acid microcrystals that can go on to form kidney stones, they make PKD much worse. So that is hopefully coming out pretty soon as a publication. So that's an important work. Jacob Torres had some great data on comparing time-restricted feeding with intermittent fasting or periodic fasting to see what is more effective, kind of head-to-head. Again, the study is pretty much done. Look out for papers to come. And there's lots of, the idea is, of course, you also see what everybody else is working on. So most of these posters are unpublished work, things that are going to come out. So if we're here, we can see what's in the pipeline and what is coming out. And that's, I'm glad that conferences are in person again, because I think it's really a difference. Actually being here, talking to the scientists makes all the difference.
Yeah, there's over about 10,000 individuals here, so a lot of researchers, nephrologists, everybody is here, and it's been great to be in person this year as well, too, the past couple of years. But also it's been great because Santa Barbara Nutrients is a sponsor this year, and so we'll eventually get to our booth, but we wanted to come in at the poster session first. I'm wondering if we can go ahead and walk, Dr. Weimbs, but I'm wondering if we could, maybe if you can talk a little bit about, you were talking about Dr. Torres and the study he did about intermittent fasting. Could you touch on that a little bit more about the kind of findings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what we had previously published was that, was that time-restricted feeding is very effective in rats and mice with PKD. And there are different ways of inducing nutritional ketosis in people and in animals. So we just wanted to compare some of the popular ways, and what is very popular is time-restricted eating versus periodic fasting. So we studied this. Dr. Torres and some of the other students in the lab studied this, compared it. Both work. So it really seems like it doesn't matter how you get into ketosis. It is always working. The time-restricted eating actually was a little bit more effective, if anything. I don't know if it was surprising or not, but that is also the way that is probably most sustainable in humans. So that I think was a really good result. Yeah.
Was there a difference in how long they were fasting? Was there studies on 10 hours, 12 hours, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so we essentially only had one time point. And it's always difficult, you can't really translate timing in rats to that in humans anyway. They have a faster metabolism. So I wouldn't necessarily say whatever we did in rats is exactly translatable one-to-one in humans. So there could be follow-up studies. Do you want to maybe turn around a little bit and show people where we are?
So right now we're in the exhibit hall. So this is where a lot of the sponsors are. SBN has a table that's all the way back there, but we'll visit that booth. I think it's one of the best, and there are a few individuals here for PKD research as well. But Santa Barbara Nutrients is really the only ones I would say in this hall that's dedicated to PKD and producing products specifically for polycystic kidney disease. So it's been great that we can be here this year. If you go around, this place is extremely large. There's no way we can cover all of the ground in a reasonable time. Yes, right behind us is the Tovaptan booth as well.
Yeah, and as you can see, Big Pharma, of course, has giant booths, and they're extremely beautiful, and they can afford it. Our booth, is much smaller, so we are a startup company. That's just how it is. You have, let's see, there's Bayer there, there's Novartis over there, Astellas, all this Fresenius Medical Care, they do a lot of dialysis and so on. So this whole conference is really a kidney conference, so all the companies that do anything in the kidney space, oh, watch out, there's a coffee cart running us over. So they're all here. It's of course another chance also for us to see what is coming in the pipeline, with different companies, and what's out there, what is new.
Yeah, I will say too, just, being in the exhibit hall for the first time as Santa Barbara Nutrients and representative there, a lot of the other sponsors and exhibits here seem to be focused a lot more on dialysis. And so I think it's been great that we've been able to be present because we're focusing on kind of proactive care and nutrition and, how that kind of impacts kidney health, which needs to be, stated a lot more. So it's been great that we could have presence here as well. But I wanted to see if you could kind of sum up Dr. Roman Mueller's. That's been a huge kind of poster that's had a lot of traction and great results. And I know we have several other videos down below on our YouTube channel that discuss those results, but maybe you can recap that again.
Yeah, sure. So that was what's called a late-breaking clinical trial presentation that happened, I think, 2 days ago. It was literally late-breaking because the submission deadline, we just met it, 5 minutes to spare, because the data were just coming in and the study just finished, literally. And some of the data are yet to be crunched and some of the analysis yet to be done. So the paper is not going to come out, immediately. But the data were just really fantastic. We had planned this trial initially together based off of our animal studies. And that sort of happened at another ASN conference a couple of years back. Again, highlighting why it's important to come to conferences and actually talk to people. And then Roman Mueller and his team really did the study, did all the work, so all the credit to them. Amazing study, I think. Ketogenic diet compared to periodic fasting compared to control in patients with ADPKD. And the study was only really designed to look for feasibility. Is it feasible for patients to do a ketogenic diet, or do they all quit after a week? Right? And it turns out, yes, it's feasible. So all the patients were highly motivated and stuck with it and got into ketosis. So all this was fantastic. But then the surprise was that there actually was a signal, a benefit signal in the ketogenic diet arm, which we didn't really expect. And I think nobody would have expected because this was only a short-term 3-month study. So I think nobody would have thought, hey, maybe there's a change already in kidney function, which, however, there was. At least there was a change in the EGFR value that I think PKD patients are very aware of what that means. So it improved in patients on a ketogenic diet. So that was amazing. Also, total kidney volume improved in the ketogenic diet, again, unexpectedly. So we'll have to, of course, follow this up with longer-term studies, and we're planning studies in Canada and in Japan early next year. Dr. Mueller is trying to get some studies off the ground in Europe. So eventually it will all come out, which is very exciting, I think. And none of this really involves drugs. So we're expecting death squads from all these pharma companies to come our way and firebomb us. I don't know. But not everyone can do dietary interventions. Some people want to pop a pill, and that's always easier. So anyway, so there's room for for everything. Of course, I personally always I am in favor of conservative approaches rather than pharmacological approaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was a great summary, and I think that those findings are very terrific. And like Dr. Weimbs said, maybe doing a longer study and seeing how those interventions compare to 3 months. But having findings in 3 months' time is fascinating, and I think that actually just gives hope that there's going to be longer-term interventions and success as that goes as well. So we're approaching Santa Barbara Nutrients booth. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what it means to be here this year, our first year, as Santa Barbara Nutrients. And here we'll go around and show you our booth. So we'll talk a little bit about what it means to be here this year as first-time sponsors, and then about KetoCitra in general.
Yeah. Well, so as you know, the last couple of years, our conferences in person were stopped anyway because of the pandemic. So this is now really, all coming back to life, which is fantastic to actually be, able to come out here. I think it's important for nephrologists and practitioners to actually stop by, learn what's new, and many people have never heard of what we're doing, of KetoCitra and so on. So it's important to spread the word. And I think we've had a lot of interest from lots and lots of people, including, of course, also international folks. People from, say, India stopping by and saying, "Whoa, there's something out there that doesn't cost $150,000 per patient." And it's potentially available for realistically in countries that are not as rich as the US necessarily. So I think that's very important. Patients, nephrologists stopping by and just getting informed. Yeah.
I think, too, one of the commonalities here with a lot of these nephrologists that have stopped by is, how diet plays a role in ADPKD and just kidney disease in general. I think that's been really helpful. We've been able to kind of inform them of the top 8 dietary approaches and interventions that individuals with PKD can make. And so a lot of, fascinating things about that as well. All these nephrologists were like, wow, our patients can actually advocate for themselves. They can take control. And that's one of the main reasons that we're here as well too.
Yeah, exactly. And as patients, always have choices. I would say stay informed. Oftentimes, patients know sometimes more about what's new and exciting than the doctors. So I would say feel free to advocate for yourselves and bring papers to your next doctor's visit and informational material, and ask them, hey, have you heard about this yet? And if not, why not? Go to conferences and find out. Yeah, all right. Great. Well, so we have arrived here.
We'll give you one last look, it's been a great banner we have this year. So as it says, it is time to manage ADPKD like the metabolic disease that it is. So we will have all the links below to the top 8 dietary approaches for those with PKD, as well as information about KetoCitra and Santa Barbara Nutrients. I appreciate your time here today, Dr. Weimbs. It's been great to learn a little bit more about the stuff that's going on.
Thanks, Alexa. Bye, everyone.